And welcome back. I'm Mike with the Turntable Teachers and classes back in session. Here for another guest speaker episode at AOA Studios. If you're an artist, podcaster, or content creator of any kind, make sure to check us out at aoastudios.org and book your session or service today. And I'm joined today by a very special guest. He's very multi-talented. We're into the multi-talented creatives. I like talking to the multi-talented creatives. We just had the last episode, or 2 episodes ago, I should say, with M. We talked about that length of just, making sure you pick up different skills and finding different avenues of the creative realm. And I feel like you embody that perfectly as a musician, vocalist, engineer, podcaster. Of course, we're here with Alone, the one and only.
That was a great introduction, man.
Thank you,
appreciate
sir.
that.
I've done this maybe 160 something times.
Yeah,
so
true. No,
I got to figure it out.
That was great. Yeah,
you
got it down. You got it down.
Welcome. Thanks for being here.
I'm honored to be here, bro. This is such a great place.
Thank you so much.
You gave me a little tour when I got here. It was amazing. It was beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, you have a great team here as well.
Thank you so much. Yeah, no, I agree. Shout out to Cam and Zafir. I'm very excited to work with them every day, and just it makes it fun and easy when you work with people that you like, and that you all kind of have we just have a good flow. You know what I mean? We were friends before. I know they say don't get into business with your friends, but like I maybe disagree, because we've had not to say that's all been great, but we've had our bumps in the road, but overall, one of the best decisions I ever made. So no, we love it. We love it here. So thank you so much.
That's awesome.
We've been a long time coming. We've talked about having you on for like a year now.
I know.
We
it's
finally
been a while.
made it.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's a good time.
I had to get the heat going, though. You know what I mean? I had to get the heat started. I was very busy last year. I don't think I would have had time for this.
Yeah.
But this year, I'm like ready. I'm like, albums dropping, everything's happening, boom, boom, boom. So like, I'm like excited.
Yeah, I feel like a lot has been happening in your world, right? So this is like a perfect time, I feel like, to have you on the show. And have you start doing some more podcasts, getting a little bit more outside. You know,
outside,
as the kids say, right?
Yeah, bro. I'm tired of my name being on like captions in Instagram and like my face not being on the post or whatever. Like, because like I made the beat or I'm part of whatever. Yeah. I'm ready to be outside. You show my face, show my personality, show who I am. A lot of people might not like it. You know what I mean? My personality is not for everybody, but I think they're gonna like the music. Absolutely. I think this album's gonna definitely put a stamp on what I've been like going towards, because I dropped Need You Back, and that was like a very like different kind of thing that I was going for, because I was going for like, how can because Need You Back started with this one guitar MIDI that I had. It was like tz, 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 and I was like, this is like EDM. It's like kind of poppy, but it's still got like some type of rock alternative type of vibe. So I wanted to make like something along those lines, you know what I mean? So then it came like to a Jersey beat, and I was just like, this is it. I just came up with the lyrics instantaneously, and I was like, this is going out. This is just going to be a single. It's going to get everybody's heads like, okay, this is a vibe. I did the music video with Nick Violet. Shout out Nick Violet.
Shout out Nick.
Killed it. Just definitely went with exactly what I was going for. It was like, the song's about indecisiveness and like, I don't know like what to do. So like you put both of them in the same, best of both worlds type vibe. So he definitely pictured that perfectly for me.
Definitely. No, it's a great song, great visual, and it's out now. We'll link it all in the description for you guys. I mean, obviously, don't go anywhere. We got plenty left with Alone. I do like to start with on these shows. I like to start with a segment we like to call the objective. We get to know a little bit about you and your background.
Okay.
So, as I mentioned in the intro, multi-talented, right? You're a guitarist, vocalist, engineer. You play keys too, right?
Headbanger.
Yeah, you're a headbanger, right? I guess some other things involved.
I play keys. Yeah, I produce as well. Do sound.
That's right.
I do sound design. I did a little bit of Foley and background music for three movies, but only one of them is out like publicly. It's called the Battlegrounds. Maybe not but just Battlegrounds. Okay. But it's an indie movie.
Fire.
Yeah. It wasn't really that great, but I was like, fuck it.
It's a good opportunity.
Yeah, I put it on my resume. You know what I mean?
Dude, say that you have music on movies is
I have an IMDb or whatever it's called.
There you go. Exactly. You got the IMDb. Perfect. Yeah. So my first question to you in terms of this creative realm, I kind of get the sense you were an artist first, but take me through like your musical journey and like as of a Spark Notes version as you can. You obviously give as much detail as you're willing, but and where did they all kind of start for you? Like what aspect of all of this creative sort of palette you have? Like what was the aspect you started with, and what's the one that you feel like you're a lot more maybe focused on in the moment, or does it vary based on day to day?
Yeah, that's a great question. Guitar, easily.
Yeah.
Like guitar was the first time I got introduced to. I was 9 years old, you know what I mean, and my mom had gifted me a guitar for like Christmas or something. It was like a little starter Stratocaster or whatever, and it didn't sound the best, but I made it like sound, to me it was like the best thing that I could have ever found. It was like the missing key in my life, but I think that was the first time I got introduced to not only like music but also discipline, like hardcore, not like, oh, you got to clean your room and this and that, but like mental discipline, like individual, like to be solidified with this instrument. I have to learn it every day. I have to wake up in 30 minutes to an hour, learn these stupid exercises that I just like, they get annoying sometimes, and I had a teacher for like 3 months. And then after like maybe, like 4 months, on the fourth month, I was just like, I kind of don't, really need to do this anymore. I could like figure it out myself. But like, it was definitely very helpful, bro. Cause like after that, I wrote my own songs, and I was like, how do I get this on like headphones? You know what I mean? I was like 12 years old. I was like, how can I like listen to this in my, like with headphones or in my car? How do I make this an audio track? Like I didn't know what those terms meant.
Which is so much easier, I feel like, to do now in this day and age than, because you're like in the same, I'm a little older than you.
Yeah, 28 years old. Bracket. Yeah, so this is probably like,
I'm only like 3 years older than you.
Yeah,
so I remember a time when, all this stuff wasn't like not everybody had a home set up, right, to like record themselves. It wasn't like that.
Right. No, it was not like that. And to be like that, you need like so many, like all this equipment.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Compared to now, where it's just a laptop, audio interface, microphone. You're good.
If you got $1,500, you can get yourself a nice
like
setup.
See, back in even 2008, I could not find an interface that I could plug my guitar into.
Right.
There was no like high Z interfaces or any type of like inputs that I could like plug my boom and like it can digitally go to like, I could use it for like guitar rig or whatever. There was no amps or amp sims back then. You know what I'm saying? So everything was like boom, recording through the amp or making some. I skipped a major part. I learned on Audacity. We all go through the Audacity phase. Shout out Audacity.
Shout out Audacity.
Yeah. I started on Audacity.
When I was teaching podcasting at the last school I was just teaching at, of course, what was the DAW we used? Audacity. Because it's easy. It's just easy. It's free, right? Yep. I mean, it's just like, so we all, even in the podcast sphere, we started, that's how our first, I think my first like 40 or 50 episodes I recorded on Audacity.
Yeah.
Till I upgraded to, other things. But like,
I have a whole like rollout with all the DAWs I've been through. I've touched every DAW. Most likely. I mean, when I was a kid, I was like learning Audacity, and then I switched to Adobe Audition.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, this is way better. Like they have compressors and like these things called plugins. I don't know what they do yet, but I'm gonna figure it out, And then it was around that time where I was like, all right, I need to like actually press record and like make this something, like put it out on SoundCloud. SoundCloud was big around that time.
Yeah, I feel like the 2010s is when like SoundCloud was at its, I don't want to say its peak because, that makes it seem like it's kind of on the downside, but I do think like 2010s was like when
that was the start of playlisting.
Yeah.
That was the start of it, dude.
I feel like a lot of great music was housed on SoundCloud, because then I felt like I feel like that was kind of the almost start of like the streaming era that was like away from things like Napster or like iTunes. You remember? Because there was a point in time where like I would download a shit ton of music on like, this is whatever statute of limitations, but LimeWire was the big one.
Yeah.
And then, but I know Napster was like the sort of the first like actual streaming platform where you could like purchase individual songs and stuff. Like that was cool.
I haven't even heard of them.
Really?
I haven't heard of Napster until like a couple years ago.
Napster was like early 2000s, I want to say. Or maybe, I think the inception of it might have been like late 90s. I don't remember the exact, date off the top of my head, so don't quote me on it. But it was hot then, and then I think it kind of got taken over by like iTunes at that point.
Yeah, for sure.
iTunes kind of like, I think, dominated that market for a while. But then I felt like SoundCloud was awesome for like all that underground music, or like, you know,
reposts.
Exactly.
Most of the people
different mixes and like DJ
remixes,
remixes,
stuff
like,
that you
like
can't post on.
100%.
Yeah, that you can't monetize off of. That makes sense. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But it was huge. I mean, I feel like that was like where everybody would find like cool mixes for different stuff. It was just, but yeah. So that's awesome. So you recorded. How old were you when you first like started recording music? Do you remember?
Like realistically, probably like 14.
Okay.
Yeah, because at that time, like my other friends were like we were rapping, we were rapping, and everybody wanted to be like a rapper and like an artist or something. So I was like, yo, let me record y'all, because like I was the one that had the hardware and the software. Because from guitar, this all started from guitar, because I just wanted to like see how I sound. You know what I mean? I wanted to record my guitar playing, and then I just like figured out how to use the software. Wow. You know what I'm saying?
And look at you now.
Yeah, I know, right? They would say, they would be, my friend has this joke. He's just like, yeah, look at you now, still on FL Studio. He probably would have been here and said that. He was supposed to come today, my boy Mateo.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, he's a Mayan Culture, actually, is his artist name.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's an artist I'm working with. I'm working with so many people now, dude. It's so crazy. So.
Well, yeah, and that's actually a great transition point, because I wanted to mention this. So I know you've performed with multiple bands, and you've worked with so many artists. You've toured with Justin Clancy somewhat recently. I know that was last year. Yeah. And you engineer and produce for just so many artists, like you said, like Mateo, Isha, to name a few. My question to you on this front is, how do you strike a balance between creating for others while also trying to stay inspired to create for yourself? Like, do you find an issue sometimes with that, where like,
these are great questions. First of all,
well, we got more coming, but
this is.
I'm very curious how you balance
I feel like you talked to my therapist, and you like, I got these questions.
Shout out to
okay. Okay, cool. Damn, that's a good question. I guess you really. I personally haven't figured it out yet. You know what I mean? I maybe other people are like, oh, I have like a daily schedule where like, on Fridays I'll work on mine, and Saturdays it's other people. I like find time when I find time. Music really isn't, and it's kind of like something that I've earned throughout like buying my own gear and stuff like that. Like having the luxury of a home studio. Like music hasn't been like in this like a thing that, most people would be like, oh, you have a studio at your house. Like, why aren't you making music every day? Like, I would love to. You know what I mean? Like, that's like kind of the goal. It's just hard, bro. Like, you can't make music stuck in a room, like, not in the vibe, like, to make music. You know what I mean? You have to have a message, a subject, like, go in there. Like Lil Wayne says, you got to go in the booth with ammo. Why am I in the booth? I don't have no ammo. You know what I'm saying? I got to go live life, get some ammo. Like, go out with my friends, have a vibe, have a certain thing that maybe I have, like, an emotional, like attachment with, you know what I'm saying? And maybe I have to talk about it in a song or through a poem or whatever it is. And I think that's when I get the heat. And I think that's what this album, that the Placebo is what it's called. I'm leaking announcing the album title actually right now. So
let's go. We got the exclusive.
Public announcement. Placebo.
Exclusive.
And it's really just about like, like the psychology of the placebo effect. Like, you believe something and you kind of, you identify with it. You know what I'm saying? So this whole album is just a bunch of messy, genre throwing, kind of music battling each other type stuff. So I have like a whole story from the top to the bottom. It obviously gets like a roller coaster vibe. And I think, man, I have to work on it. I think in the album, I talk about it a lot. I'm like, dude, like I have no time, whatever, you know what I mean? So like, I definitely have to work on it. I think I put maybe 3 hours of my day, because like I had a canceled client and I was just like, let me just like pop open the album and like work on it. And it was that day where I was just like, oh, it's done. Like in my head, I was like, I had the placebo effect going. I was like, man, like it's not done. I got to do this to that, do this to that. It took me, I thought it was going to take me like 3 days or 5 days. It took me 3 hours, but maybe less than 3 hours, because I just like mastered it, boom, boom, boom. And yeah, it just takes that, sometimes just, we're all trapped mentally in our own world where it's just 100%. Like, oh, I have to work and I have to do this. And it's like, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you can control like, what you think will take like a really long time and stress you out. It might just get done like, in 5 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm fascinated by everything you're saying, because like I agree with you not being an artist myself, but just like being in this space now for as long as I have, like realizing that, you know, the best music does come from its purest forms, right? If you force it, it's not like one of those jobs where, so to speak, where, you know, you can go and do it 9 to 5 and it's just like you clock in, clock out. Like you have, like you're saying, you have to go out in life. And I've had plenty of artists talk about this, go experience certain things before you're able to then come back and write. And so, yeah, and then we have these conversations a lot with Zafir, who's like kind of in this, you know, you guys were just chatting off air, but, you know, sort of in the same boat as you, where like he was an artist first, and now part of his job is being an audio engineer, having clients, working on other people's music. And, you know, I'm even seeing that a little bit working on other podcasts, right? Where it's like, you know, through our studio, we have a bunch of podcast clients. And so I run our podcast division. So I work on a lot of other people's shows. And I feel like, I feel the same way, where it's like, sometimes I feel that inkling of almost, I don't want to say losing love for it, because that's not it, but it's like, you lose that motivation a little bit to do your own stuff because you're so focused on working on other people's work, which again is fantastic in its own right. And I love working on the shows I work on and all that. Like it's amazing, and it's beautiful to like help other people's creations come to life. Like feeling like you're trusted enough with something like that, because it's not one of those things where it's like, hey, you know, I know you Uber, like, pick me up and drive me to the airport. Like, realistically speaking, most people can do that. Yeah. But not everybody can help bring a legit, like, an idea to or life, some right. Exactly. Absolutely. So I think there's a trust and like you don't take that lightly. There's like a responsibility factor with that, where you're like, wow, I really appreciate that you feel that strongly about me to work with me. But then it does drain you on the other end to do your own stuff. I'm
so much more passionate about other people's work than I am with mine.
No shit. Interesting.
I swear. And the thing about it, because it's my work, I get to be a little bit more lazy. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
It, just because I want to get the take. I want to get the take down. Boom, 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 boom. Like, I'll pitch it later. I'll do this. I'll do whatever.
Right.
I love the take. I love getting the take, like the vocal production of it. It takes me, bro, forever to like get the mix that I want. I keep going back, touching this up. I don't necessarily do that too much with other people. Like when I'm mixing like Isha, or when I'm mixing Naive, or on any of my other guys, like it's more like I have a template and I go by it, and they allow me, like you said, like they trust me with their creative process. That's like, I am allowed to have that creative decision making where it's like, oh, okay, maybe a reverb throw here, maybe a delay throw here, maybe chop this up and play with the beat and flip it or reverse it, whatever. That's the cool part about being that, you know, engineer for them. And I don't really see myself as an engineer like to that extent. I'm more of like a producer. I'm more of like a sound design. I'm just designing what you want into this, you know. So that's what yeah, I'm grateful. I forgot what the question was, but I just
we're at this point we were just kind of chatting. But I was saying like because the question originally was like, you know, that balance of
to
working
do it for me,
do it for you versus other people. Because again, like I can now confidently like, because that's why I wanted to ask you the question, because like it's something that I think I struggle with, that I know Zafir struggles with, and just I think anybody that, you know, because again, there's so many artists that are just I either, you know, that's their full-time gig and they're just an artist and they focus on their own artistry, which is fantastic. So another person that we didn't have this conversation, but I'm thinking off the top of my head, so another person like Akaso, right, who also engineers and works on other people's music, but then has his own, right? So it's like, you know, you just, or even like a Dallas, right? It would be another example of that. So I think there's a lot of examples of people like you, myself, and you, who, you know, we have our own creative lane, and that's kind of where it started. But then, for whatever reason, we kind of ended up going this other direction. Now we're helping other people with their own creative pieces of it, which again, I appreciate. And I love doing that part of it, because naturally, again, just personally, my teaching background, I want to help people. That's the reader to my nature.
That's the reader to the librarian journey. You know what I mean? Like you got to like the student to the teacher. You know what I mean? Like I guess it just. And the thing really is like we don't know everything. Like I'm still learning. Like I don't like I wouldn't like be in like the room with like Andrew Schweppes or like whatever. Like being like like let me teach you something, Andrew. Like nah, I'm learning. I'm the student in that environment.
They're still learning. I feel like we all are. Like I mean, Rick Rubin's a big inspiration of mine. I've said so many times on this podcast. But I think that's it. Like he says it in his book where, and I'm paraphrasing, of course, but you have to continue to, like, you have to almost tap into that kid that wants to learn and is curious and all that. Like, there's just, and I don't want to get off this crazy tangent, but I just feel as though, like, and not even just music, but in so many other facets, like, people hit a certain age sometimes, and again, I don't see this as a criticism, but people hit a certain age and they feel like they've learned it all, or they don't need to learn it all, or maybe they don't necessarily think they know it all, but they don't feel that there's a necessity to hear something in a different perspective or learn something else. Because when you hit a certain point, you're just like, I'm done learning. I don't ever want to get to that point personally. Yeah, I constantly check myself all the time.
I think I'll be bored with life at that point.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, that's my little I'm
infatuated with learning, dude. Even if it has nothing to do with music. Like the other day, I just like I'm always wanting to learn. You know what I mean? Like if I see like some construction going on, if it was a weird thing to do, I would be like, yo, bro, like, how does this work? You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing right now? It is fascinating.
Especially the stuff that we don't know about.
Yeah. I'm fascinated with technology, bro. Like, I'm a hardware guy, but I love technology. Like, I kind of understand it, and I built my own computer before, whatever.
Oh, shit, no
way. But, I had to build the music. I have a YouTube video on it. It was it's mad funny. I must have missed that in my... It's called Musician versus PC, bro. Go look it up. It's so funny. It's so funny because I had no idea what I was doing, and it was fun. It was a fun thing to do because I was like a child again. I'm like piecing together, bro. I was just so ignorant because these are like thousands of dollars worth of equipment, and I'm just like, is this shit going? I'm like, things are popping and shit. I'm like, I don't know. Obviously, like, it came out fine. I have like a supercomputer, like basically, like it runs great especially for music. My old laptop was the reason why a lot of files went missing. I had to like, really think about what my fucking future was gonna be if I had to like back up, 3 backups at the same time. That's what I'm doing now. You know what I mean? Thankfully, but that like let me into the tech world. I was just like, yo, like, what is this? You know what I mean? Like, what are all these like cores doing? Like, you know what I mean? And like, I don't know. I just always wanting to learn things like that. You know what I'm saying? But there's just never enough time, dude. You know what I mean? People are like, go to college, do this, go that. And I'm just like, bro, like, I want to learn like 50 things. I can't go to like 50 colleges right now. Like,
well, again, this is coming from somebody that obviously was in the education sector for 10 years. I still am. And in a lot of ways, I'm not like formally teaching anymore, but I'm definitely still in, education. But, I don't think you need to. Like, there's obviously certain things that, yes, you should probably, or not probably, but you have to. You should, if you're going to go be a doctor, for example, you should probably go to school for that. Right. But like, there's so many things you can learn on YouTube or just learn, or
information,
random classes. I know, dude. You can walk into there's certain colleges where you can just sign up for courses. Yeah. There's free courses for, especially, and that's the other one thing I love too is I'll never forget this. One of my classes, I had this like older gentleman in my classes when I was in college. This was 10 years ago now. And at the time I was ignorant because I was like, what the hell is this like 60-year-old dude in here? Like, why is he wasting his time doing that? And then as you sort of realize like, oh, like they offer free courses. A lot of these colleges offer free courses for seniors. Yeah. And it's like, and then now I look back on it, I'm like, that's a beautiful thing. Yeah. Like even Jaylen Brown from the Celtics talks about he takes courses at Harvard all the time. I was going to say
Harvard has CS50.
Yes.
Like a free class on the internet. You can just take it right now. Boom,
exactly.
Boom. Yeah. So that's something I would do. Like if I was going to do like some technology.
Why not, honestly? Because it's like, I think that's the stuff that... It is a time thing. It is a time thing.
It's just a time thing. It's just like, so much to do. You know what I mean?
I know. Struggle in everyday life of, putting food on the table, all that jazz. We go down that road.
Eventually it'll be like farm and barns and like, cows. Eventually we're going to get there. We just got to invest in us to get to there. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
I think that's all. That's what the dream is. I've been asking all my friends and I'm like, dude, what is like your dream? Like, 10 years ago, it was like, bro, I want an airplane and I want to fucking live in the city on a yacht and this and that. Now, all of our dreams are the same. We just want a fucking farmland, a couple acres, just out in the country, like nowhere near fog.
I'm sending this to my boy, bro.
Yeah. Nowhere near smog or none of that nasty shit. So I don't know. I think I just like, again, I'm getting old is like the saying. I don't know, bro, but...
Bro, my boy Danny, he's one of my best friends. I was the best man in his wedding, and he's gonna be best man in mine, which is beautiful. But he said this for literally years. He's like, bro, all I want to do is like, I want like 4 of us to like buy a cul-de-sac or like a little commune in the woods, and like we all just live there and be in like it just cut ourselves off from society. I'm like, 10 years ago, I probably would have been like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, that sounds nice.
Yeah, I'm in a conflict with that. See, the album was actually supposed to be called Integrate because there's a lot of conflictions between Earth and like, unearthly things like technology. I guess it's kind of man-made, so it is kind of earthly, but a lot of stuff that comes with that, like giving things consciousness and like stuff that like is not understood fully yet.
Right.
And like I've always the analogy I use is that where would I plug my guitar in the wood? You know what I mean? It's like it's so much less fun to play for the trees than it is to play for people screaming lyrics back at you. And like in order to get that, I need a place to plug in. I need like probably a venue that requires electricity and like now we're talking like we're reversing, you know what I mean? So it's like going backwards. That's the confliction that I'm in. It's just like, man, I want to be like away from obviously in the nature and like away from all this like fast life shit. But then like, do you know what I mean? I question myself. I'm like, would I be able to survive without like my guitar, like on some real shit, like without a fridge?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Without electricity, you know what I'm saying?
You might at some point be like, maybe this isn't what I thought it was.
Right. And a lot of us think that that's what we want. And in reality, it's like, bro, we just want things a little different. That's it. You know what I mean? It might not be that exact thing, but we got to really think about the stuff we're going to sacrifice to get there. We got to turn our phone off. We got to like stop going to work. If you want to go hunt and do like live off the earth, you know what I mean? You got to do shit like we used to do back then. You know what I mean? Cause the future doesn't say that. The future does not have that in there. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't want to be part of the future, you're going to have to go and do that shit. And that's where my confliction is, where I'm like, damn.
No, it's such a good point.
New Hampshire looks a lot more cozy. It's not that far away either. But I don't know.
I know. It's crazy. I want to switch gears to the main lesson where we talk a little bit about what you got going on now. So, like, I do want to quickly talk more about the album. So, Placebo, you said.
Placebo. Yes, sir.
Curious if there's any other detail. I know you're just announcing it here for the first time, which I appreciate you for.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for
exclusive.
Yeah, thank you for doing it here. That's so cool. We've had that a couple times on the show, and I always appreciate when that happens. But I had a couple more questions about it, if whatever you're willing to share. I know it's not out yet, but so talk to me maybe about, you said it was a quick process creating it. Do we have like a potential release date? How many songs? I know you had said there's like, it's a very eclectic vibe. There's a lot of different experimenting going on. Makes sense. The name Placebo kind of like, I think feeds into that well. And you've even talked a little bit about, you've often compared your music to like that of a painting, which has like, brushstrokes of vulnerability, but also strength, which I loved. I thought that was super cool in your bio.
That's really cool. Thank you.
So like, and you have such like, I feel like when I listen to your music, I hear a lot of the influences you have. I hear a lot of the different tones and tonalities and styles that you're trying to go for.
Yeah.
I'm not trying. You are going for. So my question, I guess, is like, what can we expect sonically from this album? What can we maybe expect from in terms of experimentation, length, whatever you would love to share with,
Great question. I'm a huge fan of transitions, like the phases of each soundscape, Okay. So I think if you heard anything from You Will Be Okay EP, like there's a little ending there that kind of hints to what the next piece is going to be. And I think the connection is going to be good. Okay. I think the connection is going to be great, actually. Yeah. And I mean, that's all I can really give out. It's just a Amazing. Roller coaster. It's really just three full emotions, like curiosity. I would say, in order. If you listen to the order, I'm a guy that listens to albums from top to bottom. I don't like. I can't press shuffle. I just can't do it. I feel so guilty.
It's the right way to do it.
So from top to bottom, it's very like curious, and then it gets into almost like disgust, uncomfortableness, kind of, but like in a good way. You know what I mean? And then towards the end, it's definitely, for me, it was heroic. But I would say the emotion would probably be like, just or vulnerable, I guess, is another one too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's my favorite type of music, is the music that is vulnerable. And
absolutely.
That does come from a place of feeling and emotion. Like I was in a group chat earlier today. I know as we're sitting here recording this, the Playboi Carti album came out today. And again, like here's my take on like
what did
music,
you call
like,
it to? It was
it's called I Am Music. I
I
think
Am
it's called.
Music. That's
so that's out now.
That's cool.
So yeah,
I haven't heard it yet.
A lot of I listened to some of it. Many people listen to this probably I won't like what I have to say, but it is what it is. I'm gonna say it anyway. You know, that style isn't for me. Like it's just the way I see it, right? Like music like that, it has a purpose, it has a place, right?
Yeah.
Like if I hear that at a party or if
I'm
there's like a
getting lit.
show.
Yeah, I'm getting lit to Playboi Carti.
Yeah, like,
I haven't
cool.
even heard the album. I know it's probably some of his best
Yeah,
work,
yeah. It's like the musicality of it from that standpoint, great.
Yeah.
But like that style of music, it's not music that I'm gonna like go gravitate towards when I'm on my own. I just won't because it's just like I don't feel like it fits any place in my
They're gonna murder
life
you.
to do that. They will.
Comments
they will.
are gonna
They're
murder
gonna,
you.
which is fine. I'm not bashing. I'm not saying it sucks. It's just not in that place. But I gravitate more towards music that, you know, has a bit more, I guess, substance. If that makes sense, right?
Absolutely.
Not to say again, like some of the beats are dope, the production's dope. Like I appreciate what
A lot of substance in there.
he goes for, but
depends on the type of
yeah. I guess it depends on your version of substance. I guess mine would be like from a lyrical or like even from a emotional feeling of the sonic elements of it, substance. Like that's where I guess maybe it's just part of the life or like stage I'm at in my life right now, where it's like that's the type of music I'm gravitating towards. But anyway, you know, not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but so like
I haven't heard it yet, so I'm not. Maybe,
no,
maybe it's not good.
I heard a couple songs. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying like that's just an example because it's just fresh in my head. But like what you're discussing of like that vulnerable music, like put it this way, the songs I listened to on the Playboi Carti album, I wasn't sitting there going, oh wow, it's like a vulnerable piece of work.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's where I'm going.
I mean, I will say like there's a place for everything. You know what I mean? Because like I don't want to like, you know, I'm not like chilling poolside or like on the beach or like in the wild like listening to Playboi Carti like trying to hang like trying 100%. To chill or, you know, cool down. Exactly. I'm usually like at the gym or doing this or something, most likely skating. Like when I listen to Playboi Carti while I'm skating, bro, I'm like I'm breaking shit. You know what I mean? And that's like it matches like what you're trying to do is you're trying to be ignorant right now. You're trying to just get something accomplished, which is like a sport or something like that. Right. Or if you're a fighter or whatever it is, you know, that'll light you up. For sure. But I definitely feel like there's a time and place for everything. Cause like there's music that I was like, I hate, you know what I'm saying? Like there's like, obviously there's music like that's bad. Like, you know, that Friday song by Becca, whatever. Remember
Rebecca
Black Friday or whatever? Rebecca Black. It wasn't the song called Friday or something?
It was called Friday.
Like tonally, you know what I mean? Obviously there's it was a musical.
Objectively speaking, you can say something like that.
It was like, that was like, if somebody like me had worked on that song, it would have sounded way better. That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, fair enough. It was a little lazy. That's all I'm saying. You could tell. But stuff like that's produced really well, even if it's, you know, ignorant or this and that. Like, I mean, I big Ace Hood fan when I grew up on Ace Hood. So like Ace Hood, he was like the middle ground for me. Like he was like trap, like what Pusha was giving us, but like lyrically and rhythmically talented. Like he was 100%. A skilled individual and he was like just doing crazy shit. He was repping, you know what I'm saying? He was just it.
There was a mainstream appeal to Ace Hood that, not comparing the two, but like to use your point, like in a vacuum I prefer Pusha T. But I understand your point of saying that Ace Hood had certain elements that...
He was like the flow guy, though.
You
know what I mean? He was
there's a different thing to it.
You know what I mean? He was the
like
rhythmic
Push is
guy.
a lot more technical and a lot more...
He's more... He'll get in your head more, for sure. Absolutely.
The bars
like
are there, but Ace Hood has that energy.
Right.
That Pusha T's got more of the swagger.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not that he didn't have swagger, but yeah.
There's music that makes you think, and then there's music that makes you feel. And sometimes if you feel it, because like I'm gonna be real, my bad. No, I grew up not listening to English music. I grew up like Spanish household, so bachata, reggae, like Bob Marley, especially Bob Marley. And like, you know, sometimes I didn't understand what they were saying. Right. You know, so like, but it felt good. Like it made you still want to dance and like but you know what I mean? Like you were still like able to
feeling something from
right,
it.
Right. So it's like sometimes I have to remind myself that it's not always about like I can't understand what he's saying and like it's mumble rap. I had that phase real quick because I was just like some of these like little pumps, they were getting annoying. You know what I mean? I love Smoke Perp. I love little like, but I'm just saying most of the copycats and like they were just like it was cool at first, but like then it got like copied and like So like it's always just a time and place for everything. You know what I mean? Like
I think that's where I'm at too. Like I agree with you, and I think that I used to have like music debates with friends when I was growing up, or like saying that this is bad or this is good or whatever. I think that there's a few outliers, like you said, like Rebecca Black's Friday, for example. We could probably objectively say it's not a great song, but I'm starting to get away from like this song is bad or this song is good, or even not just saying that like just any of that stuff, like judging the music.
Yeah.
It's more about just like, hey, you know what? Like either this isn't for me or this isn't for me in this moment.
Okay, real.
Like changing the way I speak about art. Any kind of art, right? Because
that's why
it's the stupid, silly phrase we've all heard, which is, one person's trash is another person's treasure, and that's the honest truth. It's like, I feel like that's a perfect, phrase that goes well with art, because, you could hear a song and be like, I'm not feeling anything from this. I'm not getting anything from this.
Right.
And I could think it's like, it's really moving me in some way. You know what I mean? So it's like I think, and vice versa. And I think that there's moments where we probably would listen to the same song and be like, oh my God, isn't this like the greatest thing you've heard? So it's like, but then might be somebody else. It's like, nah, it's not for me.
Yeah,
so I think like that's where I'm at. I don't love saying that music is bad or judging art from a standpoint of like negative, positive, or good and bad. It's more or less of just like,
it's important.
It didn't resonate with me.
Yeah, it's important to have that kind of like open-mindedness too, like with all those people around you, because especially in like a creative making process, like you want like those all those opinions to be. Yeah. You don't want to take too much of it and be like, oh, should I change the creative decision about what if it's my project, but. It's good to have. Like I'll be showing people my music and I'm like, what do you think about this part right here? You know what I mean? They're like, oh, I don't like it. It's not for me. Or then some people will be like, yo, this is the best. Exactly. And I'm like, I kind of like take a poll sometimes, but at the end of the day, like it doesn't even really matter what any of them say. I'm still just gonna, and I think that's important to have as an artist. So if it's possible to be in a studio session where there's an intention, you know what I mean? Where it's just like, no, I purposely did that. You know what I mean? I'm purposely doing that. That's a really intimate moment, like between the producer, engineer, anybody in that room, because not everybody will get it. You know what I'm saying? 100%. And that's like perfectly okay to the artist, then that's perfectly okay to the listener. You know what I'm saying? But I think if you get it, it will resonate so much harder, bro. You know what I mean? So I guess like, it's just some people just don't get it at that time. Some people just don't like, I don't like a lot of music. Like, I mean, there's a lot of music that it just doesn't hit for me like right now. You know what I'm saying? But I know like later in life, I'll probably be bumping it. I'll probably be like, damn, I probably should have given like Aerosmith's second album or you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like sometimes I just like don't rock with something right now. For real. You know what I'm saying? Where, I think that's a lot of music too. Like I love rock, like heavy metal, like
that makes sense,
like I grew up, dude, listening to Slipknot, like death metal. No like shit. I can pull up the playlist, bro. I just like it's like senses fail, like heartbreaking, like emo shit. And then like now it's just like I listen to less of it. Like if you play it, and you know what most of it is, I'm just realizing this now as I'm speaking, I just haven't been in environments like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what it is. Too. It does matter totally too. Matters. Like I'm not always at the club, so like my listening to rap has gone down. Like you know what I mean?
Great point.
And then like I'm not always like in mosh pits anymore, like out skateboarding with the, you know what I mean? So metal has gone down. So like right now I'm like in the middle right now. Like this whole past since January, I've just been listening to like alternative and like R&B. That's it.
Well, I think it's also reflective of where you are in your life, right? Because if you're in love, let's say, or you're in a newfound love, like love music or romantic sounding music, I feel like is going to just more resonate with you in that moment.
Yeah, I'm in a heartbreak era.
Well, then there you go, right? If you're in a heartbreak era, same deal, right? It's like those breakup songs are going to be more in tune with you, or if you're for example, you're using your example, if you're in a situation in your life where you're going out frequently and you're going to clubs and all that stuff, then yes, like that style of music is probably going to hit more for you than if you are in a place in your life where you're not, or if you're not into that sort of stuff. So that's the way I see it. It's like,
that's really cool. Yeah.
It's phase. I feel like we go through phases in our own lives too, with all of this art too.
Absolutely.
So
that's why I feel like our parents are like, don't listen to that. Cause I'm like, man, you listened to that shit when you were a kid. Like, what do you mean? You just grew out of it.
I appreciate my mom for that, because she never was saying, don't listen to this, don't listen to that. Like when I was growing up, like I wanted to listen to hip hop. Like I was 9 years old. I remember going to my mom saying like, you know, because I'm of the era, you're the same age roughly the same age as me, but like I'm of the era where I would get up at 6 a.m. and I'd watch 30 minutes of Sports Center, and then I was watching 30 minutes of music videos on MTV when they would play music videos.
Yeah, that's
so like, and then at around 7:30, I'd start getting ready for school. But like I'm in front of the TV in the morning watching music videos because I was enamored with music at the time, and then of course like. Around that time in 2003, the bigger artists in the hip hop space were obviously like Dr. Dre, Eminem, 50 Cent. And so I like begged my mom and Outkast. That was another one. This was like the first album as a CD I ever owned was Speakerboxxx Love Below. And I just remember saying to my mom, I'm like, please, can I go buy Speakerboxxx Love Below? Mm-hmm. And she said, yes, but you have to get the edited version. I was 9. So like, cool.
Right.
So like, but you know, some other parents at the time that I knew from my friends, like they weren't allowed to have that album, or they weren't allowed to have Get Rich or Die Trying. They weren't allowed to have the Eminem Show.
Right.
My mom was like,
you could just get it on YouTube then. Fuck it.
Well, even I don't think YouTube was really even big in 2002, 2003. That was like,
really?
No, it wasn't really like a thing. Maybe. It was around, but I don't think it was like.
I don't remember. Can I tell you now my experience?
Sure. Yeah.
I don't remember ever buying a CD, dude.
Really?
I don't remember buying a CD. I don't remember. Can I tell you what I remember? Sure. I remember having a computer. I don't know where I got it. I think so. Like, to be honest, my mom was like talking to this one guy that was like a computer nerd.
Yeah.
He gave me a computer with like a bunch of shit on it, and like it was mainly for gaming, but it had this thing called Ares on it, which is like Spanish version of LimeWire. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like, you know, Central Americans, they would have it's like our version of LimeWire, and I would go on there, boom, 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 type something in. There was not one time that this software did not have the song that I was looking for. So, bro, every time, you know, boom, 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 new thing came out, new Eminem, whatever, new 50, I would just type it in and listen to it and download it onto my iPod. Mm-hmm. At the time, I had a Nano.
Oh, yeah.
The
iPod Nano.
Remember the Nanos?
That thing was crazy.
Yeah, dude. That was like the way I did it. I don't know. I don't remember I remember seeing CDs and like using them and playing them, but I never remember.
You might have just missed it.
Buying them.
Because when I was, like I said, from the time I was 9 up until I was about 13 is when I was big in the CDs. Like I was buying CDs like crazy. But then the iPod started becoming a lot more popular, like right around when I like probably I'd say 2006, 2005, somewhere in that range. So like maybe just era wise, you maybe just missed because I definitely caught the tail end of like the CDs for sure. Yeah. Like because then the iPod started getting big, and then of course everything at that point was on iTunes. It was all on the iPod, LimeWire, all that sort of shit. Yeah.
There was still ways to get around that, dude. I was pretty techie I learned that like you can just record.
Oh yeah.
Like you can record, it would be a compressed file and it would suck, but like if you have something stuck in your mind, bro, that's how valuable music was. Like it was just like you had to make a CD, burn it on a phone, or not a phone, but like a device. You know what I'm saying? I wish it's making me sad that we're talking about it because I'm like, damn, bro, like look at all the shit we missed out on.
Yeah, no,
but right? Look at all the cool shit we have now. You know what I mean?
I know it's all all era based.
Like it wouldn't be as easy to make music, you know, if it was back then.
Definitely
like,
not.
I think we have a lot of cool, even though it's oversaturated, we have a lot of cool artists that probably wouldn't have been an artist back then.
It's important. It's really cool that we're in that era.
Absolutely.
This era. All right, I'm gonna switch quick gears to a segment we like to call Pop Quiz. Ooh. So this is for anyone that's a fan of Alone and just being introduced to us for the first time. Pop Quiz is a segment where we ask our guests rapid fire questions. Ooh. Some have to do with music. Some have absolutely nothing to do with music whatsoever. It's just stuff I found out about you. But it's all about you, so you really can't fail as long as you know yourself.
Okay, cool.
So, okay. All right. So, first one can be kind of nice and easy. You can also elaborate as little or as much as you want on these.
Okay, cool.
True or false? You used to be a breakdancer.
Wow, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I used to dance I used to go to like Funk Phenomenon classes.
Oh, you did?
My cousins are actually like real members, like contracted to them or were. And I used to always go to classes and dance with Zay. Zay, he used to like teach classes. Yeah, I was doing break dances like all the time. No like shit. I learned a couple of windmills, and every time I go somewhere like where I could like, you know, get down real quick, I would just pop out a windmill, impress the shit out of people, be like, yeah, it's a cool conversation starter. Actually, that's cool.
One of my good friends, or friends from high school, I should say, his brother was in Funk Phenomenon as well, and ended up going dances.
What was his name?
Anthony Nicolo.
Oh, it doesn't.
He's around your age, actually.
Maybe I ran into him. Maybe I ran into him at some point.
Interesting. Yeah, he dances for the Celtics now.
Oh yeah, see, I didn't get like that's cool. Like I wasn't part of the like team, but like I would just go to classes. They were so cool, bro. That's all awesome. Like mad talented over there. Cool. Yeah.
Sweet. What's one tip for anyone looking to get into day trading?
Don't use Robinhood, obviously. Like for day trading, like. You can like trade for, you know, in long-term investments and stuff. I don't want to give out any of the sauces, but just look it up. I think starting, that's a good question. Okay. Here's actually like really good advice. Like I'm really not, I used to be, I feel like I already know who you asked, but I used to be addicted to like minute trading, like seriously addicted with crypto. And I used to pump Solana like all the time, like just going, you know, buying low, selling high, buying low, every dip. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's too time consuming, and you'll probably make like around the same as if you were like getting paid $40 an hour. You know what I mean? Like so, just like long term. Think long term and think. Do your research before investing in anything, and start small, like literally $50 to $100. Don't do like thousands yet. Yeah.
I think that's pretty good advice.
Yeah.
What's your favorite arcade game to play at Roxy's in Cambridge?
That's a good question. Probably the basketball one, just because it's just so fun. I know it's not an arcade game, but
it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, considerably, right?
Absolutely.
So I would.
That's my game.
I cheat all the time because I'm like, I mean, not like I'm just good at it. Maybe. I mean, there's no rules really. I don't know if I'm cheating, but I just like because I use. People don't know I'm ambidextrous.
Ooh, that's a good one.
So I use both hands. So I'm not grabbing and
you're not cheating. You're just getting more shots up.
Maybe that's what it is.
Because by pure volume's sake, because you can use both hands.
Right, absolutely.
Versus if you play it against me, I'm just going.
You got to set up. You got to use the left hand to set up.
I got to use my set
and
shot.
I'm really not even setting up, bro. I'm more like chucking it.
Just chucking
I'm just chucking them and like throwing them high, and I'm doing rainbows every time. They always
all right, well, call next time you're going because I'm coming.
Yeah.
I'll come
let's go.
beat
I
you.
go there pretty frequently, so yeah, let's go.
I heard it's kind of your spot, right?
Yeah, it's like it's a nice little spot. I like arcade stuff, so that's cool.
Yeah, it brings out a little kid in you.
It does. It does. That's absolutely true.
I know you're kind of a wine connoisseur. So our first question on the wine front, are you a white or red?
Red, yeah,
Reds?
for sure. Red is my guy.
I got it. So on that front, what's an underrated or inexpensive bottle of red that you think people should drink more of that more people maybe don't know about?
Yeah,
that you should
Pink Moscato, Pinot, not Pinot Grigio, the other one, Pinot.
Pinot, because that would be a white.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right.
Pinot Grigio is white.
Right. I do like that one as well. So
you like the sweeter wines?
I do like the sweeter wines. Pink Moscato is my favorite. I wouldn't count that. Is that a white wine?
Moscato?
I mean, it is white. It is light, huh?
I think you'd consider that a white. Probably.
I would take anything given to me. How about that?
Okay,
I would take
fair.
anything given to me. Like recommendations, I don't really have any.
Okay, you just like when it's in front. Got it.
Dude,
okay.
I'm not really a drinker. I'm more of just like a chill guy.
You like to sip it.
I'm a chill guy.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Well, perfect segue since I know I'm not a big drinker.
If we're drinking like a bottle, if like my friends bring a bottle, bro, I'm like pouring myself a cup. You know what I mean? I'm not drinking like heavy shots.
I'm right there with you.
I'm going to have a mixed drink like a gentleman. All right. I might, make it a little bit more sugary than whatever. Fuck yourself. You know what I mean? It's my drink. You know what I mean? And then I'll let everybody else get drunk while I'm chilling.
My
you
guy.
Know what I'm saying?
You and I are cut from the same cloth.
Yeah.
I'm the exact same way.
Yeah.
So I know that you are definitely enamored with psychedelics and alchemy and chemistry and all that stuff, as am I. I'm very much into that sort of stuff.
Hell yeah.
So what about these subjects or these topics do you think is so immersive? And then within what contexts are they most interesting to you? Like, are you somebody that likes to indulge in the psychedelics and you like to try different ones? Or are you more so like to research and like or maybe both. This could also be a both thing. Or are you someone that likes to research and understand like the ways it works? Because I'm definitely a both guy. I would say more so on the research side. I've tried I've tried mushrooms multiple times and have had good experiences. I've had some maybe bad experiences, nothing too crazy. But like the actual science behind it fascinates the shit out of me. And also the fact that the knowledge, I'll say, or the societal,
the
whatever
unknown.
you call it,
the unknown
has been so, in my eyes, underrepresented and also demonized in such a bad way in society.
Sometimes, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's kind of like the status quo, though, right? To demonize the critical thinkers. You know what I mean? Like, that was like the whole thing. Damn, that's a loaded question. It was
a bit of a loaded question.
It was great, though. I loved it. It's very...
saw the gears turning as I asked.
Yeah. I mean, I'll answer the psychedelic question first. I love, like... Since I will say, like, psychedelics, like, dude, I don't want to, like, overdo it, but, like, they low-key have saved my life in a way. Like, maybe not, like, my physical life, but, like, my mental, like, how I thought about myself. They gave me opportunities in certain... I think it's all about how you think about yourself, dude. You know what I mean? Because especially what psychedelic you're using, like ketamine, LSD... psilocybin. These are all microdosed. You know what I mean? Like these are all with intention. I'm not going to the club or, you know, to a rave on shrooms, dude. Like that's not how I take my, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I'm a very like, critical thinker. So in general, like when I'm sober, like even right now, like, I mean, I smoked a little bit of weed before I came here, but like I would be overthinking everything and just not overthinking, but just critically thinking about everything and like how I could respond. And sometimes the psychedelics will open up a little bit of vulnerabilities and like, especially when I'm doing them with other people. But yeah, I think most of every drug I've done before like 17, because before when I was like I used to do like drugs, like hardcore, like pills and you know, I was like doing like K-pins, like Xans and shit like that. I hated that shit. And then I got into like LSD and ketamine and especially mushrooms, dude. Mushrooms are the most natural in my opinion, and they're just like the least, like they have the least amount of side effects, like in a good way. You know what I mean? So like you know, it technically gives you food poisoning, you know what I mean? And that's like psychologically what's happening, and that's how your body reacts to the thing. But there's a bunch of, you know, great things that happen when that gets released, the psilocybin. And it's really about how you think about yourself. Like it's all literally, if you feel like you look ugly, you're going to be like shy around people, you know what I mean? If you feel like you are like, you know, you're too tall or something, or like you're not tall enough, like you're going to be like, those insecurities are going to come. And maybe when someone says, blah, 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 you're like, you might think they said something about you because like, you're like, oh no, like, are they talking about me? You know what I mean? I've seen people go through that little psychotic episode. It's people say that's a bad trip. No such thing as a bad trip. It's completely necessary for you to feel those emotions because that's what you've been masking or basically hiding when you put the mask on when you go outside into society. These are things that, you know, when you take psychedelics, especially in deep doses, not like microdoses. Microdose this morning. You know what I mean? I like to microdose before I go to bed. And it just helps kind of, you know, progress through my day in a way that most people won't think, especially if I have a project to do, because it's like I want to immerse myself, and sometimes it's enlightening and sometimes it's not, and like the whole point is kind of to control that. And I find it as a challenge. I find it like a sport to like not have a fucking because what it does is it gives you a temporary psychosis, you know what I'm saying? So if you can kind of fight that, and I think I want to make my wrap up my answer, but my DMT trip is what taught me that. Is that like I did DMT, dude, and I literally thought like I was like nothing matters. Like if there's a secret key, and like you kind of have to do it to understand what it is. It's kind of like someone's giving you a message, and once you have the message, you really before I did DMT, bro, I was like really preachy. I was like really like the Anunnaki and we're being controlled and we're bioengineered to be slaves for another race. You know what I mean? I was like so into like conspiracy theories because this was like data that was out into the world. Like, and now, 10 years later, it's like verified. You know what I mean? Like, what did I say? Like back then, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not even going to bring it up, but now it's like so different. I don't really care. Like you can bring me the newest knowledge, the updates on like, actually, God is like this other person. They figured out where God was, the God particle. I would be like, cool. You know what I mean? Back then I would be like, where is it? Where is it? We got to spend all of our money to invest in. I'm going to tell everyone. Now I'm just like, dude, you know what? Some things, if it was a strong message, it would come out. Cause I feel like God sometimes, we're all God. And sometimes if there was a message that I needed to, relay to someone, it would just naturally come out organically. And like, I don't need information or everything I have. I believe in this philosophy. Everything we need is already within us. You know what I'm saying? Mentally, spiritually, especially. But yeah, I love like, that's when I started getting into like Hermes Trismegistus. And like alchemy.
What is that?
Hermeticism is the study. It's basically the study of science, like science before science, but it includes like ancient alchemic texts and scriptures that kind of like unlock certain. That's kind of like where they got the coal into gold type theory, that ideology, which is like, technically true if you have the right ingredients, but it's just alchemic bindings and stuff. We can actually, there's a thing called transmutation, which humans are able to do like without being like knowledgeable into it. And, look up transmutation. It's definitely, it's just basically turning one cell or molecule into another molecule with certain energies that we're capable of, like gas and solid, turning a solid heat, into liquid and stuff like that. But yeah, that's what I've been like studying certain things like that. And not really studying like at school, just like really looking it up and just infatuated. And I talk a lot about Hermes, in my album, like in a very low key way, not really, like saying his name, but yeah, like I went on my journey with like philosophy. I ran into Aldous Huxley, Terence McKenna, all of these like great critical mind thinkers. Terence McKenna, probably if you're like an extreme, like you really want to know what psychedelics do and like how to control your mind, you should get into Terence McKenna. Or like, a lot of people say Alan Watts, he's like the guy. He's cool too. He's very like metaphorical. And he speaks in like verses, you know what I mean? Okay. So that's cool. Terence McKenna kind of breaks it down like as a nerd. Like there's a science to this shit. There's a science to like spiritual, there's a thing called biophoton emissions. And it's basically like our like gases we create. Like they're like, I think they're like quantum cells or something that can only be seen through like a certain microscope or a light, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. But these are things that are new data, you know what I mean? And we're like basically just finding this out. And to me, it's just, it's crazy. It's amazing what we've like, these things are like very interesting to me.
For sure.
But they don't change like how I believe things. They will never change my philosophy as to like, got to do it yourself or got to, you have to be your own father and mother and believe in yourself and support yourself. Yeah. And everything you need is already within you, certain things like that. Yeah.
Wow, well, that was really interesting and enlightening for me to hear about all this.
Yeah, dude. Real quick, the Corpus Hermetica. That's like if you're really into like ancient science, kind of alchemy. The real kind of like witchy way. It's not really dark arts though. It's really just our art. It's the human arts that we lost. You know what I mean? Like, think about the Library of Alexandria, you know what I mean? Shit like that we will never find again, you know what I'm saying? So luckily we have ancient texts like that, which can help us along the way of like, which, how can we, it's like an instruction manual in a way, not really, but.
Well, I feel like psychedelics is all like goes hand in hand with a lot of that. Like I I don't know how true this actually is, right? From just like, I don't think it's been proven, but it's been, so we're in Beverly, which Salem's right next door.
Yeah.
And I know that like there's a lot of, I don't want to call them conspiracy theories because they do have some, I think they do have some data to like back this up, but there's some credible theories that what really perpetuated the witch trials was actually psychedelic plants that were like, that they were consuming that were in the area.
Really?
And that was like that's a theory that might have perpetuated
I believe it. Yeah.
the sort of witch trials and all of that
Yeah,
stuff. It's
for sure.
people that were literally tripping that didn't realize they were tripping or
Yep.
whatever it was,
Yep.
right?
And they saw probably something
that made
influenced their decision.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that there's, and whatever, I don't know how true that is.
There's a lot
but
of stories like that.
There is.
There's a lot.
But I think what you're describing, and again, there's a lot of ancient sort of like I think psychedelics go hand in hand with a lot of like these ancient like findings that you're talking about. So, and I know that like from the documentaries I've watched and what I've read, just from a psychedelic standpoint. First off, I do want to say I'm really really happy that you kind of started it off and kicked it off because I preach the same thing.
Yeah,
saying
absolutely.
that these drugs are not necessarily just let's get fucked up.
Yeah, no.
I hate that mentality when it comes to psychedelics, which is why I don't do them that often. The reason being, now microdosing is a little bit of a different thing, but like to do like a legit trip, like I always make sure I'm in a proper headspace to do it.
Yeah.
Or like you said, there's an intention that goes along with doing them.
The intention's more important sometimes
100%.
Because you can be in a room with other people with different intentions. So that's why you want to have your own intentions set. Like, hey, you know what? Maybe this is just like me. Like, as long as they know, like, I'm going to be in the corner meditating, like, they're cool. And sometimes it's not that. Sometimes, like, I just get so fucked up. I'm laughing with my friends. And this was, like, not a meditative journey. It was more of just, like, a fun journey.
To let
maybe
loose
I
of
needed
something.
to laugh or maybe I needed to cry or whatever it was. Like those are very important things.
But it's not to be done with, let's go to the club and I'm going to get fucked up or I'm going to, or
like but it's a different experience and like you have to be spiritually aware. You know what I mean? Like it's not fun to have like that spiritual shield up because there's like demons when you go outside, bro. Like not like actual devils, but like evil energies, like people having a bad day and they're like you're crossing the street, he's driving a car, maybe he might, you know what I mean? You never know. Like there's things like that you always have to be looking out for. So if you're under the influence, bro, it's going to be more difficult. Of course. You know what I'm saying? So it's not recommended.
No, it's not. I agree. But no, I think all this is it's just a fascinating conversation that I'm glad you got super in depth with because again, you know a lot more about a lot of this stuff than I do. But
I don't even know that much either.
Well, you definitely know more than I do. But I will say that I've there's a documentary I watched about a couple of years. I mean, it was 2 years ago now. That and again, just the misinformation about these drugs and like how they've helped people, especially like I know it's been huge. The DMT thing has been huge with veterans and that have PTSD.
Man, if you had known me 10 years ago and that's all I talk about is please decalcify your pineal gland. If you get anything from today's like episode, just decalcify your pineal gland. Go on Google how to decalcify pineal gland and read everything that you need to know because our pineal gland is the most important thing we have right now. It's what's basically this is the gate, right? So like they've been feeding us misinformation and confusing us and everything. This is the gate for real. If they break our pineal gland, their mission is complete. If you guys know anything about history, like that's when the war ends, and we lose, like regular people lose, not the elitists win, Of
course.
But if you guys don't know,
closer to that now than ever before.
Literally, yeah. If you guys don't know, DMT is it's not even a drug. It's a chemical that's produced in our pineal gland, basically our third eye, whatever. You can go look it up. The pineal gland is responsible for dreams. That's what the DMT is, the chemical it produces. Wow. It's responsible for when you go to sleep and you enter REM sleep and then you start seeing visions of like, and you wake up, you're like, yo, I was just in another world. That's called dimethyltrip. You were just tripping, or not really tripping, but you were just, high on DMT. Right. And that's why you were dreaming, because that's what produces your...
So when you take DMT, it just enhances that when you're...
It's like having a conscious dream.
Wow.
It's like, but it's a little bit different because there is a little bit of intention there. When you go to sleep, there's no, the intention is to fucking sleep. You know what I mean? Hopefully I don't have a, a bad dream about someone chasing me. But usually when you're conscious and you're, taking ayahuasca or the toad one or whatever it is, 5-MeO. I did it raw, dimethyltryptamine, like the crystals from the hot plate. And I mixed it. Actually, that's wrong. I mixed it the first time I did it. I mixed it with marijuana from a bong. Not the most recommended thing to do because it's like I got my intention wasn't to fucking get fucked up. My intention was to I was really depressed at this time. I wanted to find out what is life even worth? Why do people have these questions unanswered and why are we being lied to? What's the whole point? You know what I mean? And you don't really get the answer you want. You get the answer you need. And that's even worse because it's this feeling. It's not even the words. It's you get into it and you feel it and you're like, oh, that's why that happened to me when I was 7 years old. That's why to grow into this. And it's more of a gratefulness. It's not really words that this, trip gives you,
Interesting.
So just, do some research. Everyone do your research before even, don't just take my word for it. Go and Google it yourself.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that was an enlightening version of Pop Quiz with our guy alone here.
Yeah. I forgot that was still the Pop Quiz segment, actually.
We were still on Pop Quiz there. We're going to transition back to the main lesson. I do have one more question for you in that, and then we'll finish up with our last segment. That's a pretty quick one.
Cool.
Got to talk about Highstreet. Congratulations with you guys winning Podcast of the Year at the BMAs this year. I thought it was very well deserved.
Yeah, dude. Awesome.
You guys, I feel have built up that platform to be very community based, which I think I appreciate and a lot of people in the scene appreciate. Yeah. So just I guess quickly, or not quickly, I shouldn't say quickly, but I guess just talk to me about how you got involved with the show. And just the community you think, in your opinion, that you guys have built with that platform.
Absolutely.
And maybe even to some interesting guests you've had on or episodes that you found to be maybe stick out to you a little bit more than others. Not to say that one's better or worse than another, but just ones that maybe stick out.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that's so. Dude, they're so great. They're awesome. It's a definitely a genuine vibe over there. We just love people coming in and being a part of what we got going on. It definitely is super supportive. Shout out to the guys, Dallas, James, Jeriel. I know there's so many more. Our team is growing all the time. And how I got, man, that's a good question. I remember meeting Dallas, I think at a different event. And then he was like, hey, you should come onto the show or something. And then I did an episode with them when it was, before it was Highstreet, before the rebrand. And then I was like, yo, why don't I come back and do something, whatever you need help with. I'm trying to, at this time, actually, I do remember, it's funny. I was trying to get a job at Harvard. I was trying to be the AV engineer at Harvard, little old me, you know what I'm saying? Okay. But I needed to build my resume. I was super confident in myself. And I was just shamelessly desperate for some type of education in it. Because I wanted to do it for real. I was very passionate about it. And I taught to people. I was outsourcing. I got a couple gigs. And then I hit up Dallas. And I was like, yo, do you need a backup engineer or something for the show? And he was like, yeah, bro, honestly, we could use the help we could get, all the help we could get, but whatever. Came on the show, showed mad love. I just basically helped James press a couple buttons, kind of do assistant engineer. It would kind of go on my resume. Mind you, I never got the job. So I was just fuck it. I'm 6 months in already at this point. I'm I'm staying with Highstreet or whatever it was, probably 3 months or something. And then they gave me a chair and they were just bro, you're mad funny. You have a personality or whatever. And then they were why don't you just sit down and be part of the episode instead of behind the camera, be in front of the camera. And I was like, okay, hell yeah. We'll try it out. And I was nervous at times. I just kind of try to be myself. And we just, it just kind of just worked. We just all collaborated perfectly. Our personalities match. And yeah, we were getting so many cool people on.
You've had a bunch of really cool
really cool people on.
Yeah, and you guys do have a great dynamic amongst all of you, right? Whether it's Jeriel, yourself, Dallas, Naughty, you all seem like you have you bring something a little bit unique and different to the table.
Right.
And you all have such different backgrounds too, which is super important. Not
Right.
only just from like a musicality standpoint, but ethnically, like you guys just kind of, I feel like you're kind of a melting pot, but in the best version or way of that. I appreciate what you guys have accomplished with the platform and what you
I'm proud of them, dude. I'm proud of them, dude. Shout out to Dallas too, because Dallas really puts in, like, we'll be in the group chat like fucking around, dude. Dallas is the one that like really is like, bro, this is what you gotta do. We gotta do da. And then we're all just like, okay, bet, like this is good, da.
Every group needs that though.
Everyone, bro. Shout out Dallas Rose, bro. He knows. He knows. I show him mad love, bro. I always put him on the pedestal where he deserves. You know what I mean? He works really hard. And we just support him. He supports us. It's really what it is, because this show has gotten us immense opportunities. Of
course.
I feel like I probably wouldn't have done half the things I did last year if it wasn't for Highstreet.
Well, that's what I think is important about podcasting, right? Like, I think like when I initially started the podcast, it's with Turntable Teachers, my vision was always like, to make Turntable Teachers one of the biggest music podcasts in the country or the world or whatever, right? And again, those are great lofty goals and all that. Yeah. But now what I'm realizing is I shouldn't say I don't care, but that's not my vision anymore. My thing has been, and it just happened this way, like you're saying, where the podcast has been feeding into different business opportunities. Like, we wouldn't be sitting here without the podcast.
Right.
Like, there would be no reason for Zafir or Cam to bring me into this without my having this dynamic. So just realizing that, like, the podcast has actually been the catalyst for other business opportunities and to allow me to pursue other passions that I have outside of podcasting. So I think that's where I think like the value of that is. It's in the networking. It's in getting yourself outside and like just meeting different people, and just you never know what's going to happen when you have a conversation and who you're going to connect with.
Oh, the networking aspect.
The importance of it is just great.
Absolutely. So, that's what I think too.
And especially when you guys being in such a like high traffic area as you are in New Deal, Fenway, right? It's just, it's great. Cool. So
there's a vibe to it. Like, I just skate there. Like, it's just so cool. I don't even pull up like in a car. It's everything about it is like really
dope.
Yeah, it's dope. It's different. It's like I don't really enter like, this is a weed mall I'm entering, and then we go like, it's just, you got to definitely come by, dude. You got to come on the show.
Yeah, well, I got to get Dallas, Naughty. I got to get the whole team on here at some point.
But,
which I definitely will get you guys on very, very soon. But yeah, no, I'd love to come by whenever. So
that would be really cool. Yeah.
What's been, or who has been maybe like a highlight interview? Like, I know you guys had Lil Xan on recently. That was fucking crazy.
That was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, but but tell me, like, it doesn't be that one, but that was just one that came in my mind that I was like, holy shit, that's so cool. Don McLennon, I know you guys had. I'm a huge Brockhampton fan, as you can see. I
love that one. That was really cool. I don't think I sat on that one. I think I sat out on that one, but. Okay.
I have my Brockhampton vinyl. It's like, I think it's actually in my collection.
We had
but that's dope.
We had this dude's engineer. The engineer one was really cool. We had a engineer one that was really good, because I mean, it's sometimes it's not all about like, oh, we have like this famous guy on.
No. Oh,
Lil Xan was so cool. He complimented my fit. Like, it was. I was like, yo, this is dope. This is vibe.
That humanized him a lot. Like, I don't see a lot of interviews of his, and I was never like a huge fan of his music anyway. But I know he obviously was huge at one point. But, I know there was like a reputation there, I think, for a while. But when I listened to the episode with you guys, it just seemed as though maybe it's just the place he's in his life right now.
Yeah.
But it just, I mean, I don't know if you guys brought it out of him, or like I said, just that's where he is. But it was beautiful, man. I really felt like it was a vulnerable, and you guys felt very, very connected. It didn't feel performative. It didn't feel like, there was like these scripted questions. Like, it felt very natural.
I had no idea we were gonna have Lil Xan that day. I had no idea. I wasn't even supposed to be on that day, so I was like behind the camera that day, and I was like, fuck it, like they needed some guy to run liquor for them. So I was like, oh, let me go. We need bottles. Here's Lil Xan. So we need a drink. We need to get lit. But before I went on the run, I had like just introduced myself, and like, yeah, we were talking. I guess he like dropped out same year as me. So I mentioned that, like, everything was super organic. Like, that's really how we want it to be. We don't really have a script before, even though it's like live, and we probably should. We probably should have read a script. Alice, what are we doing? But
I actually disagree with that, because I think the organic conversation actually is what's better. Like,
it's more natural, dude. It's funner,
I have my little script here, like my scripted questions, and it kind of goes in the flow of my show.
That works.
But,
right.
But I am not one to be like, we need to stick with this. Like, I am fine if we're gonna go off on a 20-minute tangent about psychedelics. Like that's cool. That's the point, right? The point is it's the same deal as I feel with the podcast with other business opportunities of being the catalyst. The scripted questions are just the catalyst to the conversation. If the conversation goes in a different way, who am I to like? I mean, I'll bring it back in eventually.
Sometimes it's
but who
more
am I to be like, oh no, we gotta stop this right now, and like we gotta make sure. Like, no, let's finish our fucking conversation about whatever we're talking about. You know what I mean?
Because sometimes it's more interesting than the question you were gonna ask or whatever.
Exactly, right? So I think there's a good balance that you can strike with that. I don't think you have to be this like super scripted podcast. I think it's good to do research. Like I pride myself on doing the research on my guests. I like to, feel like, all right, or have the guests feel like I at least did something other than sat down and pressed, record, like, you know what I mean? Like in preparation.
Right.
But, I do think there's a beauty behind just like, hey, let's just kind of sit down and kind of see where this conversation leads us. And I think sometimes that's when, and then that I feel like comes in the more authentic versions of each person that is in the room. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to feel this like, oh, we're only doing this because my management wanted to, or
I don't do that.
Whatever it is. So
it's always natural. I always feel, I like how we're doing the podcast. I don't think we should fix anything.
No. I mean, hey, you're an award-winning podcast.
Yeah,
for a reason,
Dallas. I was just joking about that. We don't need to. We don't need to do scripts.
We don't need to do scripts unless you guys want to do like
busting his balls.
Yeah. But, bro, this has been an amazing podcast episode. I'm so excited that we got to do this finally. Thank you, bro. Yeah. So Placebo. You don't have a date for Placebo, do you?
By the time this podcast comes out, I would have already posted about the date.
Okay.
I don't know right now though.
Okay. Well,
because I'm waiting for the cover art as of this moment.
Got you.
So once the cover art comes back, edited fully,
all right.
I'm like, okay, boom, that's going on my DistroKid, out into the world. So I'll focus on the next thing.
Well, perfect. Well, what I will say is make sure you're following Alone. His stuff's linked. I'll let him have his time to plug in a minute, but it'll be linked in the descriptions. Make sure you guys follow him, on social media, on, wherever you get your music, so that way you don't miss the drop, right? Pre-save if there's a link for there. So make sure you get with his music, and listen to the great songs he has out. Yeah. Now, of course.
Absolutely.
Need You Back, which is the most recent one. Which I'm a fan of. We have that on our playlist.
Yeah, it's my favorite one too.
I can't. It's a good one. I like it a lot. I can't let you go quite yet. We have our last final segment, which of course is the dream song scenario.
The dream song scenario.
Dreams. We talked about dreams earlier, so now we're back to dreams.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
I'll structure it for you. You get a song. It's an Alone song, and you can have any artists and producers on that song, dead or alive. You get up to 2 producers and up to 3 guest artists. You don't have to fill every slot, but we're capping it at that.
Okay.
But it can be anybody dead or alive. Who would be on Alone's dream song scenario?
3 producers, 3
up to 2 producers, up to 3 guest features. So up to 5 collaborators in total.
Okay.
Who would be on Alone's dream song? Take as much time as you need.
So producers, probably Break-Ins.
It's a great choice. I feel like you guys would make some dope shit together.
That has to go with like a combo, because I would always also want him on the feature as well.
Use him as a slot.
Because we're both self-produced artists, and I think both of our minds melding together would go crazy.
Yeah.
Another artist I really like right now is Nothing Nowhere. Nothing Nowhere. He's like really I'm pretty sure it's Nothing Nowhere. He's like this like emo. It's like kind of trap emo. Not really, but it's like what's that word? Hyper pop, but like more alternative. I don't even want to put him in a box right now. He's probably gonna hate me. He's like, bro, I am not.
I'm never collaborating with you ever. What the fuck? You're miscategorizing
me. But yeah, I just think his voice is amazing. Like I love his voice. He has this like amazing range. He does like this punky, like it's like a yell, but it's like a nice, I love his voice.
Dope.
And then last feature, probably. Also, I would probably want 100 Gex as a producer.
That's a great dude.
I'd probably want 100 Gex as a producer.
This is one of the craziest songs or mashes of
Those are my 2 producers, though. I'm done. And then my 3 features is Break-Ins, Nothing Nowhere, and Unprocessed.
Okay.
Yeah. Unprocessed. It's a band. So it's super left field, but I can just imagine that all these people in a room.
Dope.
would make magic. It would be crazy.
Dude, 100 gex. We haven't got that on as an answer ever. I'm
glad. I'm low key, bro.
I like some 100 gex.
Yeah, 100 gex.
I like 100 gex.
They're awesome. Like they're insane. Like people, they're so slept on. Like people are like, what is this fucking weird shit? I'm like, dude, you don't get it. You know what I mean? That's what I mean. It's like,
you know who kind of put them on? I feel like to like the main, or like to a lot of like, I don't want to say call it mainstream, but like Fantano, I feel like the needle drop.
Oh, Fantano, I didn't see that.
He's a big fan. He reviews a lot of their albums. That's how I found out about 100 gex.
I found out about 100 gex because I listened to Glaive. And I think it was like a 50 Landing song or something.
Gotcha.
And I was like, what? Who produced this?
I know, isn't it crazy?
And then I like looked up the credits, or maybe it was like a rumor or something that 100 gex produced it. And then I was like, who is that? Got into them and then listened to the... I can recite any one of their... like all their songs, all their riffs, all their
riffs are crazy.
Productions are so sick,
out of control.
Dude.
Out of control.
Yeah, they're really cool.
Well, there you have it. Alone, featuring Breakins, Nothing Nowhere, and Unprocessed, produced also by Breakins and 100 gex.
Yeah.
I think it would be a smash hit.
Oh my God. That would be insane.
That's it. Well, that was Alone. Thank you so much for being here, bro. This was an absolute pleasure. I'm so glad we had you.
Thank you, bro. Thank you so much for having me on, bro. This was cool.
Of course. No, I'm had. And all that's left to do is plug away, let the people know where they can find you. Anyone else you want to shout out, now would be the time.
You can find me on all streaming platforms with an X instead of an O. So that's like the brand. ALXNE, but it's pronounced Alone. You know what I'm saying? That's everywhere. Streaming services, social medias is IAM_ALXNE. That's it. Yeah. Shout out to everyone, bro. Everyone who's helped out on the album. Like literally Dallas Rose, Nico Trey's, Nick Violets. Shout out Isha. Shout out. I'm missing one. Tempo, 10 Tempo. Guys that just like really helped me finish the album, push me to like get it done. Yeah. Shout out Mind Culture. And that's it. I'm gonna end it. Shout out Highstreet. I'm gonna see you soon. No, I'm actually this episode's coming on. Okay, cool.
After
yes,
the Highstreet.
After the Highstreet one. Oh, I'm so excited. Yeah, well, this summer's gonna be amazing. Just look out for Alone this summer. That's all I gotta say. Cause I'm gonna be touching a lot of stages. I'm excited. I'm prosperous already. So I can't wait to see what more comes. Absolutely.
Amazing. Well, bro. Appreciate you having you being here, of course. This has been a heck of an episode. If you're a fan of Alone, just being introduced to us for the first time, you can follow us at Turntable Teachers on Instagram, TikTok. Hit up our website, turntableteachers.com, for all the latest. And then, of course, as I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, if you're an artist, podcaster, or content creator of any kind, be sure to check us out at aoastudios.org to book your session or service today. We're one of the premier studios on the North Shore. Kind of a creative hub here. You can kind of get whatever you need to get done.
Yeah, it's lit here. You got to come.
And a lot of people have said this too. Any listeners of ours, or like consistent listeners of ours, a lot they're saying, and I don't hold them hostage to say it. I promise. Like,
I am not a paid advertiser.
He's not paid. Yeah, I did not pay him to do it. No, I
genuinely, that was the first topic of the podcast too. I was like, yo, it's nice in here. Like, it's really cool.
You walked in and you go, wow, this place is great. I'm like, let's go. Let's go. So yeah, come by, come hang out with the team and us, and get some creative stuff done. We would love to have anybody, and this place is very open to any kind of creative endeavor. So we welcome you all. But as always, I'm Mike. That's Alone with the Turntable Teachers, and class is officially dismissed.